So today I figured I would try something a little different and multitasking with this week's video. I have about an hour before the children get home from school, and I had wanted to get in some drawing today, and then instead decided that I wanted to work on this painting. Well, it's drawing and finish it up. But I also wanted to get out my video this week about chapter 8 and what you are doing here. So I figured I will paint while I do that. I don't know if you can see it in the video how unbelievably shaky I am. That's part of my carpal tunnel, so it takes quite a bit of focus for me to be able to steady my hand enough to be able to draw and paint and stuff like that. It's been something like a big thing for me to have to overcome to still be able to do what I want to do with the physical restraint that adds at times. So, you know, it might not always be perfect, but it does come out the way that I intend it to, or that it intends to, I guess. So that's never a bad thing. So this week's book is called, or chapter is called, What Are You Doing Here? And it talks about what is your goal, or what is your purpose, I guess, in this world. And I think that's something that I've really been struggling to find. And actually one of the things I was hoping to get clarity on when starting this book, hoping I could find exactly what it is that I want. I'm sure this isn't very entertaining. I'm so slow at painting. Yeah, so I was hoping I would get some kind of clarity on what my purpose in life is, what my dream life would look like. You know, and I always say that the job that I have now, you know, I enjoy my job. I have a great job. My job affords me a lot of opportunities. And I always say that my job is my job until I figure out what it is I want to do when I grow up. I never did figure that out yet. So that's what this chapter is about. And it talks about everybody, you know, has a gift. You know, you're here for some reason. You know, some people figure it out and right away, and some people never figure it out. But it says, you know, once we figure out our gift and decide to put it to use, that's when the real fun begins. So once you start living for the purpose of, I'm just gonna smear this thing, for the purpose of doing things to fulfill your gift, that's when you really start living. So I think that's a very valid point. So what do we do to try to figure out, you know, what our purpose is? What is it that we want from this life? What gift do we want to share with the world? So there's a couple things in here. She lists some resources in the back of the book, some other books that maybe you want to take a look at. I didn't actually look at them yet. Let's see what resources are. Oh, there's tons of resource books here. I actually like that in the back section of this book, like there's just there's probably about 20-25 books for resources, And it's not like she's plugging herself. It's like truly books by other people that she feels would help you. So I really like that. But the first way is to be an alien. So it says to put yourself, pretend that your life is new to you, and then ask a couple questions like, what is this person awesome at, good at? What does this person enjoy doing? What brings them joy? And what resources does this person have available to them? It's just like, you know, a lot of times you have so many resources available to you, but you just don't realize that you have them. I find that a lot with my nieces, you know, when we're talking about stuff and what they want to do and how they're going to achieve that. It's like a common theme. They don't know what resources they have available to them. And, you know, some that might seem obvious to me don't seem obvious to them because, you know, of course I have a lot more life experience than they do. So yeah, sometimes just having to point out that, you know, you have this resource and this resource and this resource that you can draw from can be very helpful. You know, myself too, I find when I want to do things, that's usually my first step in doing them. You know, what do I have available to me? What do I have to work with? And what do I actually need to accomplish it? And then figuring out how to get those resources. I always say figuring out what you want to do is always the hardest part. The actual doing it, once you jump in and actually start doing it, it's a lot easier than people think. They usually just have a big block in their minds that is going to be difficult to do. But once you have that idea and get it in your head that that's what you want to do, then it's really just a matter of doing it. And you figure it out as you go, kind of. And then number 2 is just make the first step already. That's my note there. And I guess that goes to what I was just saying. A lot of people get stuck in their minds that it's going to be too hard, or that they need more resources or stuff like that. And a lot of times, just taking that first step and just physically actually doing something is huge in getting things ready on the go. It says, most answers reveal themselves by doing, not thinking. And that usually is the way that it goes. A lot of stuff, you know, as you're going along and you're doing things, you end up getting a lot of different answers. Like, you know, maybe you realize that this might not be the direction you want to go, but now you have a better idea of what direction you want to go, so it's a lot easier to transition into that direction. You know, some people might see that as wasting time, you know, oh, I wasted all this time doing this thing and now I don't want to do it, but really it prepares you for that next step. It's like a stepping stone, so it's never really a waste of time. Number 3, do your best whatever you're at. So this one talks about, you know, no matter what you're doing, what you have to do, everything you do adds to that end goal. Like, if you have to take a job that you don't enjoy in order to make ends meet, you know, because the schedule works well with your goals and what you want to do. You know, you shouldn't just half-ass it because this isn't what you want to do in the end. You know, maybe you'll find an opportunity at that job that will take you to that next level and help you somewhere in your goal. I just realized how incredibly shaky this tripod is. Probably doesn't help that I have this bad habit of like shaking my leg. I just shake everything. It's not a nervous thing, but I have this thing where my legs always have to be moving. It's like restless legs or whatever. But yeah, everybody always asks me if I'm nervous because I'm constantly shaking my leg, and it's like, no, I'm fine. I'm not nervous. I just like to always have my legs moving unless I'm sleeping. But yeah, so it talks about always doing your best no matter where you are. You know, and it might not be your dream job at that moment, but it talks about still being grateful for it because it gives you the means to be able to pursue your dreams. So even though it's not what you want to be doing in the end, it's a means. It gives you the opportunity to pursue it. So to try to be grateful and appreciative of the fact that it is doing that for you. And yeah, I think that's a good point. It'd be easy enough to sit there and wallow in the fact that you're not doing what you want to, and you have to go to like some job you don't enjoy doing. But there really is something about having a mindset of appreciation and gratefulness for things that you do every day. You know, ultimately it's really up to you whether or not you're gonna go to that job every day and be angry or not enjoy it, or you can, you know, make it as enjoyable as you want. Number 4 is don't reinvent the wheel. So look at what other people are doing in the things that you love and enjoy. So, you know, find some people that you admire, that, you know, shows aspects of things that you want your life to be, and then really get a full picture of how you want your life to be. So, you know, get that full picture. Like, is their job something that they, you know, get to work outside all the time? Do they get to work with their spouse? Do they get to work with, you know, other people? Is that they have to stay home all day and you know, work alone? You know, what aspects of their lives appeal to you, you know, and then really stop and think about how you want to incorporate that into yours, so that you can get that solid picture of how you want your life to look. How do you want this to look? How do you want this to be? And then it will help give you more direction of how to get there, I guess. Because that's what it's saying. Number 5. Don't get caught up in the Thunderbolt hype. I feel, you know, part of this, you know, when I was younger, I knew what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a neurologist for whatever reason. I don't even know how that came about, but I just decided one day that I wanted to be a neurologist. And that was like probably the only thing in my life that I ever had that much clarity with, that, you know, this is what I want to do and I'm going to do it. You know, at the time I was only 8 years old. So it wasn't really, you you know, I wasn't really able to pursue that at that time. But what I was able to do at the time was, you know, convince my father that I needed a textbook on the brain and stuff like that. So, you know, he'd give me these textbooks, and I would study those things like crazy. Like at one point in my life, I knew exactly, you know, every part of the brain, and start diving into, you know, what we do know about the brain, which honestly isn't a lot back then. So that was like, you know, 20 years ago or whatever. And even then, there was like, actually, that was longer than that. If I was 8 and I'm 41, yeah, so it's too early for math. But yeah, so it was very interesting actually. I really enjoyed that when I was young. But as I got older, it didn't appeal to me the same way. You know, life happens. If, you know, things had probably been differently than, you know, the path that my life went down, I probably would have, you know, went to university to become a neurologist, and then I would have probably woken up at some point and realized that it just wasn't for me. So, you know, in a way, I think that things happen for a reason, and that was how, you know, my life was intended to go. So when it came to doing a job, my job that I have now came by just pure frustration. I was tired of being hungry. I was, you know, tired of being broke, working long hours, working like so many jobs. At one time, I had like 4 or 5 jobs, and you know, I never slept. I was just constantly on the go from one job to the next. I didn't drive either, so that really sucked getting around. I don't know how much time in my life when I was younger I wasted like just riding buses and getting from one place to another. So anyways, yeah, so I had that lightning bolt moment, and then, okay, so I just have to take a little break. I need to make some coffee because I am just getting up for the day. I go to night shifts tonight, so even though it's like 2:30 in the afternoon, this is the start of my day, and I need to have coffee to get my brain going. So anyways, yeah, the way it came about my job was being frustrated with my situation that I was in, and really just I was done. I was like fed up of being tired on, you know, not having a life and just working to survive kind of thing. And I, you know, went to the school with the stipulation that I just want something that is going to have a decent job at the end of it, and that I could start right away. And to my surprise, they actually had a course like that. And that would be the power engineering course. They had an opening for a woman that they reserved every year because it is a male-dominated field. And so there was always that push to get more women into that role. So they always saved a seat for a woman every year, which was really good. And I could start, you know, I think it was like June or July when I went in, and I could start in September. Maybe it was even later. It might have even been August that I went in. I didn't have very much time anyways between when I had gone in and when I had was going to be starting. So that was a big thing, was trying to find the money to actually do this. You know, a single parent, so I still had to make sure that my son was being taken care of. And if it was just me, it probably would have been a lot easier to do. But so I had to make sure that, that aspect was taken care of. And so it was it was very disappointing because I wasn't quite sure how I was gonna accomplish that. So I was feeling very defeated and feeling like, I'm never gonna get out of this situation where, all I do is work to survive, and being unhappy and stuff like that. And then, my mother had passed away. It was getting on like 8-9 months, almost a year after she had passed. And, one of the reasons why I was struggling so much was because I had to pay for her funeral arrangements by myself. She didn't have anything in place for stuff like that, and my other family wasn't helping out. So, it was just added to that financial stress of being young and a single parent, and so it was, very heartbreaking, I guess. I was very, upset that, I had this opportunity to actually go to school, but I wasn't sure if I could make it happen. And then the strangest thing happened. My mother's accountant had stopped by the house, and he had brought me a check because he had found an insurance policy that she had. And so, as one of the beneficiaries, me and my sisters ended up getting, a little bit. It wasn't very much at all. It was just a tiny little life insurance, but it afforded me to be able to pay for my tuition that year and my books. And then I was able to sort out a student loan for living expenses, which didn't kick in until 3 months after I started school. So that just lined up perfectly, and I went to school. And if I had picked any profession to do, this probably wouldn't have been one that I would have picked for myself. One, because my job, well, not anymore, like when I was in the field, my job could be like, I could get like super dirty, super messy. And at that point in my life, like, if I had like dirt under my fingernails, I was very, very, I didn't like getting dirty, messy. I didn't like working with my hands, which is weird, being an artist. You think I get messy all the time, but it was a different kind of messy. And I would have never thought that that would have been something that I would have enjoyed. And had I actually gone into the situation, thinking it out more, planning it out more, instead of just, being frustrated and saying, I just need to do something, I wouldn't have landed here. And I ended up enjoying, and I do enjoy my job a lot more than I thought I ever would. So that really tells you something. Sometimes just actually doing it will lead you to places you don't know where you'll end up. And it might be a good thing, and it might be a bad thing. But you'll never know until you actually try. So I guess that was the whole spiel of that rant. Oh, actually, I completely missed the point that I started out with, too. So about the figure out what you want to do. So I have no idea what I wanted to do, and I ended up doing this, and I really enjoy it. I guess is the whole point. And I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up, It's, I know it has something to do with art. If I can sit here and do stuff like this painting all day, I think I would be a very happy person. But just trying to figure out what exact direction do I want to take this in? Is the big thing. Like, what is my niche? I find I just am all over the place with my art and how I create, and I just feel like I need to bring it in and find you know, my little niche where I can excel at. And you know, when you look at a piece, you'll be like, oh, that's a Jackie Morissette piece. Yeah, so anyway, so basically tells you not to beat yourself up beat yourself up about not knowing what you're destined to do, I guess. And that sometimes you just have to get in and just feel your way through, and to figure out where you need to be, you know. It's like, if it's something that you're meant to do, or some place where you're meant to be, you know, the universe will figure it out for you, kind of thing. So I kind of like that. It's kind of reassuring that, you know, I've come to this point in my life where, even though I do enjoy what I do and stuff, it's, you know, it's all right that I don't have a specific direction of where I want to go. So, yeah, that's a nice feeling to have, that, you know, it's not a complete failure, that I don't know which direction I want to take this, but maybe it's time that I start thinking of just doing something with it and seeing where it will take me, because, you know, I've had success with that before, and maybe I just need to try that again. So slow down and listen to your intuition. So a lot of times when we just, you know, just stop and take a minute and really listen to what the universe is telling us, then maybe you'll get some insight. Yeah, I don't know if I actually try that. I just I have feelings about things when opportunities come along. I really know whether or not it's for me, and if it's something that I should take advantage of and follow through with, or if it's something that I should just pass up on. So maybe I need to work on that more, my intuition. And then number 7 is following your fantasies. It says just jump in. Just jump in. What would you, oh, okay, just jump in. That's one sentence. I need to learn how to punctuate my notes. Just jump in and ask yourself, you know, if money wasn't an issue, what would I do? Like, what are your fantasies? You stopped and disregarded what everybody else says or thinks, and it wasn't a matter of, you know, money or resources. If you could just wake up one day and be like, this is what I'm going to do, and then just be able to go and do it, what would that thing be? And, you know, it talks about how we limit ourselves with stuff like that because we feel that, you know, we might be made fun of, or that, you know, it's not something for us. You know, we're not meant to do it, like it's, you know, cool enough to do it or whatever. And the little note it has here is that our fantasies are our realities in an excuse-free world. So if you take away all the excuses of why your fantasies won't work, that is what our reality could be. I never really thought about it like that. I don't really have fantasies very much. I guess I should think about that. What are my fantasies? You know, have you ever been mortified of somebody being able to read your mind in a specific moment when you're like daydreaming? I don't. I have no filter, so if I'm like thinking about something, it usually comes out of my mouth. I do have moments where I get self-conscious and I think maybe I shouldn't have said that, but yeah, for the most part, at any given point, if somebody asked me what was on my mind or what I was thinking about, I wouldn't be mortified telling them what I was thinking about. If anything, they might be mortified at my answer. So, and again, number 8, it ends off with love yourself. It says, love yourself like you're the only one there is. And realistically, you are the only one of you that there is. So, you know, love yourself, enjoy yourself, be grateful for yourself. And, yeah, that's definitely something. That is the beginning point. If you don't take anything else out of this book, take that with you. Because the more you love yourself, the better everything is. Maybe you don't find your dream job or, you know, what you're supposed to be doing. But if you take the time to just love yourself, everything else just seems so much better. And I don't know if anybody ever watches this, besides the one person I know who watches them every week or whenever I put them up. I found it interesting to watch me paint. I didn't really accomplish much. I'm such a slow painter. And I need to figure out and actually talk to other painters, artists who do take a long time to produce a piece. How they handle like inventory and you know, adding new pieces and stuff like that while working at a slower pace. Whereas for me, that is usually when it comes to like pursuing commercial art, or like, you know, something I would do for a profession, that is usually the first limitation that I see. So how do I get past that? You know, what can I do to get that limiting factor out of my brain so that I can move forward with it? I guess would be the thing that I need to figure out. And you know, I'm sure if I have like other painters or whatever watching me do this, I'm probably not doing things technically how I should. I'm a self-taught painter, and I don't really I'm not really good with watercolors. I don't know what it is about watercolors, but I always have so much issues with them. So this is like one of those things that I need to, that I'm, you know, actively practicing with so that I can become better at them. And so for me, things like this little piece, it's a trial and error process for me until I figure out what works for me and how I can manipulate this medium to do what I want it to do. And this little piece here, let's turn it around so you can see it the right way. My coffee. Yeah, so this piece, let me see it all, was done in Los Cabos, Mexico. When I travel, I like to draw. I like to draw wherever I am, but I always take a sketchbook with me so that I can draw when I'm out and about. I do rough sketches, and when I get home from my travels, it's usually the time that's spent between my trips will be finishing up all the rough sketches that I've done. Yeah, so this one, I was sitting on the beach, completely mesmerized by the ocean, because I've never seen the ocean before. So I was completely taken by it. And I sat there in the sun with no sunscreen and no hat for like 2 hours, trying to sketch it and figure out how to capture like the movement of the ocean. And at that time, I had really wished that I had brought my acrylic paints, because I know I could have captured it with my acrylics, but trying to do that with just pencil, I was having so much trouble with it. So I ended up sitting out there for like 2 hours. And it was wonderful because people would stop and talk and ask about the art and stuff. So it was, yeah, it wasn't a bad thing, but I ended up getting really bad sunburn. And then the next day I ended up with really bad heat stroke, and I was so sick, but it was definitely worth it. I enjoyed it. I would go out there and sit out there and draw again. So in normal times, you know, I would go and, you know, I would sit someplace and just bring out my sketchbook and, you know, start drawing. I don't know if you can see this. To knock everything off my desk. I need a bigger desk. So yeah, so like, you know, this was like a very rough sketch of Mount Vesuvius when I was at Herculaneum, and like did a very, very rough sketch of it. So then when I got home, you know, I finished it off. And one thing I like about that too is that you know, living through the memories of like what I seen and saw, you know, just like random things that catch me at the time that I want to draw. And you know, having those memories that go along with each picture. This was my first attempt with watercolors. So I think the thing that I do wrong is that I oversaturate everything. And then it tends to take on like too much of a solid look. You know, more pieces I need to finish. There's so many pieces, just like random things. But again, like for me, you know, like this completely random picture has a meaning for me. This one would have been done in Paris. And, you know, more practice with watercolors, drawing. Yeah, so I always have things that need to be finished. Lemmy, because Lemmy is awesome, and you can never have too many of Lemmy around. And then, you know, things like buildings. I love buildings. I love architecture, so I always find you know, buildings that I love, and I'll take, you know, a million pictures of them, and then when I come home, I'll sketch them out and color them up. And so this one still needs to be finished, and then, you know, some days I'll just be in the mood for random stuff. There's the other one from Cabo. So yeah, just like random things. I was like super intrigued with the ocean, and that is one thing that I definitely would like to take some more time and just sit by the ocean and try to capture that in my own way, because I feel like I didn't quite get it when I was in Cabo. So that's something I would want to do. And this book, actually, when I travel, one of the things I'll usually pick up are sketchbooks. And there is this, let's just take you off here for a minute. So where am I? Yeah, so yeah, see, just getting up. I need to have a shower and get ready for work and stuff. But yeah, so one of the things I like to do is I'll pick up a sketchbook usually somewhere along my way, art supplies, brushes, and there's this little like micro art shop in Budapest. So every time I'm in Budapest, I always stop there. And the little old man who runs it, he does not speak a lick of English at all. And I don't speak Hungarian, although I've tried. I'm just distracted by how greasy my hair looks right now. I got this new leave-in conditioner, like complete sidetrack. It's like coconut oil, and I think I put way too much in because it looks greasy. But anyways, to continue, so whenever I'm in Budapest, I always stop there and visit this little old man, and neither one of us speaks each other's languages, although I've tried learning some Hungarian. I have so much I have trouble speaking English, let alone a language like Hungarian, so it doesn't go well for me. I can read enough to know like in and out and, you know, basic signs to help you navigate the city, but that is about it. And so every time I stop there, he always has a different kind of paper for me. And this one is a book from Japan. And the last time I went there, he had found me this stack of paper from Italy. And it's actually the paper that I like to use in Canada here. And it cost me an arm and a leg in Canada, and it cost me next to nothing, and I was so excited. My friends were just laughing at me at how excited I was that I found this paper. So that is enough of my ramblings for today, and I hope you have a good day, and yeah, have a good night.